Meow meow, huh? Right? Mr. Cat, you're gonna make your guest appearance every day, right? Right? You're gonna make your guest appearance, huh? Right? Now you want all kinds of attention, right? Is that what happens? You want all kinds of attention, right? You're a camera hog. You turned into a camera hog, didn't you? Pretty soon you'll be starring in a role of a movie star, right? You see? And you got your tail up. What's that? So that means you're happy, right? Happy-go-lucky cat? Is that what you are? Huh? Yeah. Meow. You're amazing. I still can't believe this. Now you're going to get your Illuminati microchip pretty soon here, right? Yeah. In case you get lost.
Well, in this silver update, I also want to address some other problem that's coming up. Well, it's been here. It's a problem that's an issue that is really telling you blatantly in real simplistic 101 common sense way that the economy globally is a hell of a lot worse than they're saying. And that issue actually is the price. Well, it's not an issue. It's actually the statistic is the price of copper. It's been getting slammed lately. You know, it should be going up, you think, because of inflation or because of, you know, issuance of currency and all this stuff. But like I said, you know, that money is not really getting legs in the real economy. The velocity of money is actually very low. There's a lot of cash, but it's being held on the top. It's being held on the top. But where are they investing into? Well, they're buying up assets cheap. Maybe they will be buying copper cheap because the price has been so far suppressed. But, you know, it's like, you know, the big bucks just sits back and waits and like a vulture for something to fall over like a business, and they buy it up cheap, right? That's exactly what they do. But the price of copper is actually telling you what's going on in the economy. You know, despite all this stuff with the PMI numbers of this and that, actually the PMI numbers are not good. The PMI numbers in China were below 50 this last time. Actually, retail sales in December of 2013 were very bad. Even though retail employment was still high, it's actually getting slammed. So, you know, retail sales, the retail sector, you're probably going to see a lot more big box stores closing up. Not Walmart, but maybe some other stores out there. And just like we saw what happened with Kmart and Circuit City and things like that, you're probably going to see a lot more of that closing up because... First off, it's not just all that because the markets have changed because of like the internet, but the issue of, let's say, silver, you know, the fact that the one thing that silver has going for it is that it's a precious metal. It's not just an industrial metal. That's what's really difficult to always predict the price of it, because what aspect of it is actually taken over? Is it the industrial side or the precious metal side? But in times of, you know, I'm just going to say right now, where we have record global debt, silver's at this price is still a good buy. Now, I've heard something about some people predicting again that it's going to go down to 15. You know, you would almost think that because of what's going on with copper. Copper is getting slammed. But I'm going to state this. What I think is coming around, there's going to be a lot more heated political tensions in the world. That's always good for gold. That's always good for gold, which will help silver. It's the politics that's going on in the world that's actually going to keep the price of silver probably up more than you know, what's going on in the other base metals. That's what I think is going to happen. Now, I know Obama put sanctions on people that were connected to and supporting the Ukraine crisis. Actually, it's not even doing a damn thing. The Russian stock market was down 20% in 2014, but since Obama put sanctions on the Russians, it went up 3%. The ruble has been tanking against the dollar for the last year, but since Obama put sanctions on Russia, the ruble started going up. You know, my beef with Obama and people like that, or Kerry, is that they're weak leaders. It's not that I don't support them, but, you know, I don't want to support them all the way, but it's like they're weak leaders. That's the problem. Like when I think Hillary Clinton's going to be the next president, but I'm going to wind up, well, I'll probably support her a lot more than Obama, even though I think she's got more brains than Obama, I'll tell you the truth. I don't really like a lot of stuff she does, but I see a greater evil out there. And actually, if you look at I should diverge on this because I've read a lot of stuff in detail about the real causes of all the wars going back, pretty much throughout time, whatever the hell it was. It was ancient history, Greek history, Roman history, American history. And there's, even all in American history, is nothing new what's going on today that has always went on. Nothing new. But what I can tell you is this. The way, what happened, what other countries did is actually worse than what the United States does. It is worse. And that is where, when you have to pick a choice, you're really going to go with the United States. In my opinion, I'll go with the United States all the way. Because, when we looked at, say, World War II, what happened with American prisoners of war in Japan? There was a 40% survival rate. What happened when Russians captured German prisoners? There was like a very small trickle of them that survived. Actually, I could say one thing good about the Germans was, even though they hated the Jews to the max, the prisoners of war that were Americans in German camps had a 99% survival rate. There's a lot of weird things that go on behind wars that are not what it is on the surface. There's a lot of gray areas. There's a lot of, there's no neutrality amongst, like a nation might be all on one side, politically on the top, but within that nation, nobody's neutral, or nobody's actually 100% on board or for or against. That's why things are very much gray areas all over the place. But I'll tell you one thing. With metals like silver, if there's a major conflict coming up, it's actually going to be very, very bullish for the metal. It is. It's going to be extremely bullish for the metal. So it looks like, the world stage is being set up for that. If you dig into some other things, even there's premier Russian tugboat off of the coast of Florida right now that's, supposedly maybe just observing a new flight that's going to be coming out of Cape Canaveral, but it may be more than that. There's a lot of things going on. I mean, the U.S. is doing stuff in the Black Sea. The Russians are doing stuff off the coast of the United States. Tensions are moving up. I think that's actually going to be good for gold, despite industry being down and the price of copper being down. The price of copper really, really indicates what's going on in the economy. The economy is horrible. Horrible to the max. And don't let them fool you. It is bad. But I have to state this, before there was numbers on something where you can assign a value to something, people just made the stuff they needed to make, and they grew the crops they needed to do. They constructed whatever they needed to do. And basically that's what really has to come back to square one. There is actually more time spent by Americans on entertainment and garbage, and that's just 99% of the problem. I think there was something where people were saying about people on YouTube, whatever, making money on AdSense or whatever. But I'm going to state this, the most profitable people on YouTube making money on AdSense, and this gives you a good reflection of what the average person is doing, nothing, right, is actually, it's going for video games. Those are the big, multi-million dollar people on YouTube making, revenue for, advertisement and stuff like that. But you can't fault that with YouTube. You can't fault that with these people. But that gives you a good reflection of what the general population, how they're directed, it's like to video games, which is producing what? Nothing. Nothing at all. So sometimes if you want to say, why is the economy bad, it's not just the policy of the elite. I have to say that again. It's always been this way. People, I don't know what the deal is, man. That's just how they are. I've always been a workaholic. Now, I can make I'm not bitching about it. I like doing this YouTube stuff, but, I'm never going to put up with a lot of insults from a lot of people because, I'm hearing this stuff now that I'm a blonde-haired Nazi, and then on the other side I'm hearing like I'm too much with the Zionist, You know, and I'm like, you know, I'm not going to put up with it because, to tell you the truth, my billing rate was $150 an hour. And I can easily do accounting for many, 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 many more times, more money than I'm doing this for, which I'm not complaining about. But I'm not going to, you know, I'm not going to have some, you know, I wouldn't let somebody come in my office and play that kind of game with me. So that's the same thing I'm saying. You know, there's criticism and there's flat out insults. But I'm going to state this. I support the American empire. That's all there is to it. You know, I guess maybe the United States needs a figurehead, like a big showboat, you know, photo op person like Putin that murders people for fun. You know, he goes out there, he's fishing, he's hunting, he's riding his horse, he's in a plane, he's scuba diving, he's jumping out of a plane, he's riding his motorcycle with 3 wheels, or whatever he's doing. I guess, you know, that's what the crowd needs, you know, and some fancy slogans, and then you all jump on board. I mean, it's really freaking ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And, you know, I've been noticing that people that tend to get behind this guy are people that can't stand on their own 2 feet because they need a strong leader to do it for them. In the United States, we're all independent. And part of that independence is you produce your own stuff, and whatever money you save up should be in something that has real tangible value, like silver is a really good bet. Not 100% all your bet, but it is a really good bet because it's always been a good store of value. It's always been a medium of exchange going back thousands of years. You know, once all this house of cards falls down with this debt and what everything is going on, it's going to play out. But what is obvious is that the economy is bad. And the way I'm saying that is, I'm not going to bring out other statistics. I mean, I could bring out, you know, it looks like the, you know, I said this before, this was the Commodity Research Bureau Food Index. It's going way up. We're getting some inflation. And we actually have a lot of unemployment in where it's actually, you know, here you're talking about the official government figures, they're going down, but actually the people that are out of the workforce is still way up. And also, this is another one, this was the Vice Index, you know, Prostitution and Vice Index. Basically, this tells you how good the economy is. You know, people spend a lot more on vice than when they have a lot more net disposable income, and that's going down. So the economy actually is bad. But it's one thing that I have to say is it's not bad just due to the policies of Washington completely. You know, I know there's a lot of red tape that they make. They make it very difficult. It's for businesses to start. A lot of, you know, we have to comply with all these regulations. There's new Obamacare, which has been pushed off for another 2 years by executive order, which is, I don't know how the hell he did that, but he took a law and he just says, we're not going to do that for 2 years by executive order, which is way beyond the mandate of what the president's supposed to do in principle by far. But the other side of it is, you know, and I'm not knocking this. I mean, people, you know, I like, you see, the reason I like YouTube is because it's an open venue. I could do a lot of stuff on here that I couldn't do in the office. You know, I could do the car stuff, you know, how to fix up junk and the health stuff. It's kind of cool, so I like doing this. But people actually in America and across the world, the biggest industry, the biggest bucks industry on YouTube for the most amount of views is pure fluff entertainment and video games, which tells you that's the other side of the reason why the economy is bad. There's people that'll sit behind a video game for hours and hours and hours on end, and what are they doing? I don't know. You know, it's money, but it's money for somebody else, you know what I mean? It's money for the video game manufacturer and the one that's explaining on how to do it. I like to keep things more on how to do things. And I'm going to actually put some more health videos out. I've been experimenting with that device, and actually the one I had with the Rife machine, that was the spooky remote and all this type of stuff. Actually, I inadvertently connected it to the wrong thing because I was looking at it from a 45-degree angle I meant to connect it to out 1, but I'm going to show something else on that in another video today, where I set up some common frequencies, and it does work by remote. And you know, I think it's an excellent idea. Now, these things, I hope, you know what, I hate to say this, but it's almost like we're almost on the bud of new technology for medicine, where we might have ways to heal the body without prescription drugs. We might have free energy, or almost free energy, or ultra clean energy. We might have a lot of different things, new home building methods that are much cheaper, where there's like a roundish home where it's like weatherproof from all kinds of tornadoes and hurricanes and snowfall, snow loads and all that, because it's, you know, an arch type of round home. And there's all these new things coming out, but on the other side, it almost seems like the same deal that happened before World War I. All these new inventions were coming out, and we had the greatest war that they thought was going to be the war to end all wars. It looks like the evil side is catching up. But you know, but you know, on the other side of that, if there's a lot of conflict in the world, what's going to happen is the price of these metals is going to go through the roof. All the commodities. Actually, I've noticed oil is down to 97 on the WTI. I think that's due to market rigging, to tell you the truth. I know they were trying to suppress the price of oil to deprive Russia of cash, you know, which is fine, you know, but I have to state this again. There's a game going on here. It's not just the Western elite. There's a game going on here between the East and the West, where they're both seeking global power. The difference is that the West wants it on their terms and the East wants it on their terms. Either way, the people are screwed. You know, whatever you want to go with. You know, if you're talking about, you know, in Russia, the law is Vladimir Putin. That's the law. Him. He's a dictator. People say, well, we got Obama here. Actually, I'm going to tell you the truth. The American people got way more power to fix the situation in this place internally than the Russian people do in their own country. The trouble is, the American people aren't doing it for largely. And actually, like, your good reflection on that is entertainment and video games to the max. To the max. That's really what's going on. But anyway, just wanted to put this out here because I think that you know, the price of silver is actually going to explode unexpectedly. You know, right now I'm thinking it may drop more because of this stuff that's going on with copper, but what can change the situation overnight really, really fast is global tensions. And I do not expect gold to drop too much because of the global tensions that's going on. You know what happened in Ukraine? What did they do? The first thing they grabbed was the gold, right? The first thing they grabbed was the gold. Now, actually, I don't even want to point to some of these videos I did. I think some of these ones I had was, I told a couple people, maybe a few hundred hits, but I put some videos out there and hinted at some ultra mega deals that I'm about, not the only one that knows about, but I didn't get it off the internet, that were involving commodities coming from Russia. And I want to leave you with this. You know, this guy that was the president of Russia that got ousted with all his money, I don't know how he got his money exactly. Man, I shouldn't say this too much, but there's stuff that goes on in Russia where there's people that try to get commodities out of the country and avoid the import-export tax, right? You know, and you know, Putin always tries to slam those. Putin's loaded too, but there's all kinds of shit going on. You know, it's almost like they got their own people over there in commodities, like Mark Rich was to the United States with oil during the Iranian hostage crisis, if you know what I'm talking about. You know how he traded oil with the Iranians anyway, even though there was supposed to be an embargo. When it comes to money, these guys on the top got no loyalty to nothing, period. And I can tell you, this guy, like this president of Ukraine, man, he was the same kind of shit. I don't know. He screwed up. He screwed up. You know, I can't see it one way where he's saying, you know, the bad guys are on the West and this guy's the good guy. Pfft, no way in hell. No way in hell. And Putin, he's a dictator and a half, man. You know, I'm not saying that Obama's character on the inside is not that. He wants to be. Obama doesn't have that kind of power because we're in the United States, where there's still a lot more rules that limit this guy, or could really limit this guy even a lot more. That's the point. Man, I never like that when people start comparing one leader to the other. It's actually one system of government compared to the other. And, you know, what's going on is the New World Order is being pushed from two different ways. The Russians want the New World Order on their terms. That's bad news, man. Either choice is screwed up. So I vote the other way, but I'm like in a less than a 1%. Like I said, when I voted for the president of this country, in retrospect, I almost wish, that Obama lost, and because he's been shown to be very weak, and but I voted for the third party, Gary Johnson. I didn't vote Republican. I didn't vote for Romney. Right now, I'm thinking, bam, it would probably been pretty damn good if Romney won, because he did recognize there was a problem with Russia from day one. He did. So, I'm nationalistic. Yeah, so what? Does that mean I'm a Nazi? No, that doesn't mean I'm a Nazi, because first off, you either accuse me of being a Nazi, or you accuse me of being pro-Zionist, or you accuse me of whatever. Somebody's going to accuse me of something. But it seems ridiculous when Russia goes and does something and they have a dictator over there. Everything this guy does is fine. And I'm going to tell you this and leave you with this thought. In Russia, and what goes on with Russia as far as creating dissent in the West, they are creating dissent in the West. They do have propaganda outlets through Russia today, and they do want to foster division and revolution in the United States. That's a goal of Russia. That is. It isn't all one way where the U.S. is trying to do something with them. They're doing it over here. And they are spying on Americans. The Russians. They got spy ships right off the coast of Florida right now. Right now. Their premier tugboat spy ship is right off the coast of Florida right now. And they got nuclear submarines off the coast too. I don't know. If you can't see one side and you're only going to see one side, that means you are brainwashed by Russia Today and the alternative media. I am not brainwashed by either the mainstream media or the alternative media. Not at all. Not at all. But it looks like, even though the economy is extremely bad, and I'm saying it's due to this price of copper still dropping, which means that China is, they're full of crap when they're going to talk about 7.5% growth. It's not going to happen. I still think the price of silver is probably not going to get slammed down, because gold is going to stay up due to all the global political tensions that are going on. Gold will stay up due to that fact. So, I wouldn't try to, it's hard to say, but I don't think I know Max Kaiser's talking about $15 silver. But I'm telling you right now, I don't trust that guy. I don't trust that guy at all. I don't trust it. But the way I look at it, I have physical silver and electronic silver. And I'm just going to wait it out. I'm going to wait it out until I see ridiculous gains, because I know what happens with these metals. They don't go like this. They more or less go like this, very flat, or they drop. They go like a rocket when they take off. That's when I'm going to start selling, when I see some hyperbolic moves. And that is when people are going to be panicking to buy. That has always been my plan. So I'm going to wait for that situation. And not till I start seeing it bust through. I think electronically $40 on silver, and physically well over $50 before I even start selling anything. That would be my move.